Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So this past week I started making some art out of titanium sheets. I gotta find a way to buy this in bulk. I paid about $6 each for one of these squares, but I think I can do better. I don't think titanium is something I want to melt at home. It's not very malleable, can't really beat it into a sheet, but I hope to, if anybody knows any good suppliers. These guys are 4 inches by 4 inches. That's probably the size I'll be looking for, although I do want to get a big one as well. I have some other designs in mind. So I made a couple more Seder squares. I gave away the other Seder square at a gift exchange over the weekend. I made a few magic squares. I had a 4x4 one that I showed yesterday. I gave that to my boss, and she likes magic squares. And my favorite as of late is the rainbow. What you do is you anodize it at different voltages and hold it at different layers into the solution. What I'll probably try at some point is to make a Seder square where I color the Seder and then do the rainbow. Although I tried that one time, it's very difficult to get the colors to line up. One disappointment I had was I tried to do the square art and unfortunately I was using label paper that I took from a post office, and they don't stick very well to metal. They dissolve when put into solution, which I'm a little bit surprised by, because when you think about where all the mail goes, it probably comes into contact with all sorts of crap, right? And it sits on people's doorsteps, gets rained on, but this is a baking soda. Actually, baking soda is notoriously hard to wash from the art piece after it's all done, right? Anyway, so I worked with a different metal this week. Let's see how many metals I've worked with so far. Bismuth, obviously, tin, zinc. I tried aluminum at one point, didn't do very well. I was using aluminum cans, though. Titanium, no. I did 1 pour each out of copper and silver, but the temperature is a little bit higher than I'm comfortable working with. Hopefully in the next year, 2024, I hope to work with quite a few other metals. I hope to finally give extracting gold out of electronic equipment a try. I've been thinking about that since I was in college. When I was in college, I had a classmate who extracted gold from a bunch of computer chips, and he had a visible amount of gold, nothing fancy. It was just a few grams maybe, and he went through hundreds and hundreds of computers to get that. And I did a back-of-the-envelope calculation because I wanted to have a 400-ounce gold bar someday. I still do. I still want to have one. And when I calculated how many computers I'd have to recycle to do that, I kind of gave up. And also, while I was talking to my friend, I asked him where he could buy all these chemicals, and he said you could buy it at Home Depot. And at the time, the two of us were feuding over a girl. She was now working part-time at the Home Depot, and when he said it, it just gave me a nasty feeling, like my heart had skipped a beat. And when he realized that my heart had skipped a beat, he was, oh no, don't worry about it. Go to Lowe's then. You don't have to go to Home Depot. And so at least we could agree on some things, right? Even though we were fighting over a girl, as long as we were talking about chemistry and our studies, it seemed to be okay, right? It's just like how the U.S. and Russia can be at war, but as soon as we go into outer space or we work with chemistry, we're just fine. We can name elements after our enemies and be just fine with it, right? Russia can use polonium to kill their spies and be okay with it. We can work with Moscovium, right? And that's just fine, right? Or when we go to space, we could all work together, right? Unfortunately, my friend has since passed away, and part of the reason he passed away was 3 years ago. He got really good at networking with everybody around him. He never had anybody more than 6 feet away from him, so he passed away as a result. Unfortunately, the girl we were feuding over has also since passed away. And actually, I kind of understand why she passed away. I'd be watching her do chemistry, and she was very casual about safety precautions. She was the kind of person who would never put on PPE no matter what she was doing, right? If she were still alive today, and I showed her some of my art projects, and maybe she decided to work with, I don't know, thallium or cadmium, I bet she would do that without any sort of PPE. And unfortunately, that's also part of the reason she passed away. Not from chemistry, but from driving her car a little bit too arrogantly, let's say. And so I hope to work with gold at some point. I'm not shooting for the 400 ounce gold bar, anyway, not in the short term at least, but I do want to pour a Buddha out of gold. You know, one of the zinc ones that I showed you guys on here a few times, and I hope to do one out of gold. That's about 10 ounces of gold. I mean, I do have 10 ounces of gold. I just hate to melt the stuff that I have, so I'll look into recycling some computer chips. I hope to work with, apparently, tellurium also pours interesting crystals. I hope to work with some of the more exotic elements. The other elements that I can melt easily, not too high of a melting point. I could do thallium, of course, although I'm scared of it. There are alloys of indium and tin that have a very low melting point, so I'm not sure what I'll make out of them. Right? Usually I want things to have good melting points so that they're not too fragile to work with. I recently discovered that dust in the house is slightly radioactive because it contains some small amounts of polonium from radon decay. And I hope to extract some polonium out of dust, enough to kind of see it under a microscope. Not so much that I could pour a Buddha out of, obviously, but enough to see under a microscope, just to see what it looks like, and see if I can get a microscopic crystal. I suspect polonium will also make hopper crystals just like bismuth. Similar properties. It expands when it freezes, and tellurium also makes crystals. So I'd love to see what the crystal structure would look like, but obviously at a microscopic level. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.